Welcome to Daily Movement Lesson Series. My name is Taro Iwamoto. I am your Feldenkrais teacher in this movement series. My hope for short movement series is that you will have daily movement practice that you can easily fit into your day and you can apply new awareness of your bodies and movements into your everyday life, so that you can move with the greater ease and the comfort. These lessons can be done in any order. In fact, you can start from lesson 5 if you wish to. Please have a firm pillow or a stack of small towels nearby for your head support as you might need it. I have 3 tips so you can get more positive experience from a lesson. And tip number 1, move slowly. And tip number 2, move within your own comfortable range and don't push and don't strain. And lastly, tip number 3, be curious and enjoy and have fun. So with that, why don't we begin a lesson now? Okay, so this lesson you're going to be on your hands and knees, and so make sure if you need to pad up the floor, if you got a nice carpeted floor, that might work well. If you're on a harder floor, making sure you can just use maybe a blanket or something underneath your knees, and so that the pressure is not too much for you. Anyways, so we're going to begin a lesson with a reference movement, standing. Okay, so stand on the floor with the feet shoulder width apart and let your arms hang by your side. Okay, so just gently, and you're going to reach your hands, right hand down towards the floor. Okay, and then return. Reach your right hand down to the floor and return. And notice how that movement works for you, and how does it move, and how do you move and to reach your hand down? How does your body respond to the movement? Okay. So let's begin a lesson now. Get on your hands and knees, please. Okay, so hands and knees, and if the wrists are the problem for you, you can try with fist. Okay. Anyways, I'll do with my hands and knees, and so the hands are about the shoulder width apart, and the wrist directly under your shoulders, and your knees hip width apart, knees directly under the hips, so they're not too far forward or they're not too far back, like that. Okay? Like so. And from here, so the first movement is you're going to, so there's going to have your face looking down, not looking forward. Okay, so keep your head, you can look at the space maybe behind, between your hands somewhere, and then begin to move, side bend your head to the right slightly, and then come back. And this is another reference movement. So don't strain yourself as you move your head sideways. Tilt your head to the right. So when does the head stop moving, or when does the movement become difficult? So how does it move? And if you pay attention to your body, in what parts can you feel the movements taking place? In what parts not so much? Okay, and you stop. And when you rest, you can come up on your knees, or you can sit on the floor and take the pressure off of your wrist and take a rest frequently, so it doesn't get too much. And when you're ready, return to the same positions and same movements, and side bending, tilting your head to the right. Now you pay attention to your neck And can you feel that to move the spine in your neck is kind of side bending? So the right side of the neck is getting shorter, left side is getting longer. Okay, so the right ear is moving towards the right shoulder. Here. Okay, but don't push to the limit. So if you're feeling a strain in your neck, then you are pushing to the limit, and just don't go that far. Okay, and now you take a quick pause. Okay, so the next time you do the movements, pay attention to your shoulders. Maybe just to pay attention to your right shoulder first. So as you tilt your head to the side, to the right, any movement in your right shoulder, is the shoulder moving anywhere? If it is moving, which direction is it moving? Is it moving downward, or is it moving upward? Okay. And can you let your right shoulder move down? Down is away from your head, so moving down towards the right hip. It's the head, side bends to the right, and allow the right shoulder to move down. To allow the right shoulder in order to move the right shoulder downward, and notice what you have to do with your left shoulder, right? So let your left shoulder move upward towards the direction of your head. And so now, as the shoulders participate in the movement, and notice what happens to the head movement. Okay, and let's take a rest. Rest in any position you like. You can even stand up. You can lie down, that's fine. I'm just going to sit and I'm going to kneel. Okay, take a quick rest. Then return to the same positions. So this time, now you're going to move your right leg, slide your right leg to the right. So you're pivoting around your right knee, so the right knee stays there, and it's like a windshield wiper. Okay, so the right lower leg is sliding on the floor to the right and back to the starting point. To the right and starting point. Do it slowly. Okay, just a few times. Okay, and take a pause. So the next movements, you're going to move both lower legs to the right. So you're doing the windshield wiper movements with both legs same time. So both of them, they slide to the right and return to the starting point. And there. So with this movement, observe the movement of the pelvis. Is there any movement of the pelvis, or you keeping the pelvis still, or can you allow the pelvis to move? If you allow the pelvis to move, how does it want to move? Okay. So can you allow your tailbone to to move and swing to the right and going with your legs. Like as if you're wagging the tail to the right and back to the middle. To the right, back to the middle. And as you allow the pelvis to be part of the movement, and notice what happens to your spine, your lower back. And can you feel the shape of the lower back changing? How is it changing? Is it side bending? Which side is getting shorter? Which side is getting longer? As the legs swing, sweep the floor to the right. And notice the right side of your lower back, your spine is getting shorter, and left side is getting longer. Okay, let's take a rest. And if you're ready, return to the same positions. Same position, hands and knees, or the hands and the fist, or the fist and the knees. Okay, so from there, the same movements with your legs. Sweeping the floor with your lower legs, wagging the tail movements. Observing the spine, how is the spine participating? And how far up through the spine can you feel the movements? So it's that wagging the tail and curving, side bending the spine and the lower back. And is it continuing up through the spine? And if you observe your rib cage, as your rib cage participates in the movement. If you can allow your rib cage to participate, and how does the rib cage move or can't move to help the movement of the legs? Okay, can you allow the right side of the ribs to become shorter? And can you allow the left side of the rib cage to become longer as the legs sweep on the floor to the right? And as you continue to shift your attention, allowing the movement to move further up through the spine, and notice how maybe your shoulders and mid-back and mid and an upper spine, and begin to participate in that movement and begin to curve and side bend. And you notice the shoulders also maybe participating. Maybe your neck is participating. And do you notice your head is also participating? Notice the head is side bending to the right. Okay. You can imagine that you have a tail, and then you're wagging a tail that you wanted to look at your tail. Well, you don't have a tail, but you can pretend you have a tail. Or maybe at least you can think, maybe peek at your foot, your right foot, as you sweep your legs to the right. And take a peek at your right foot, the heel, and back. Okay, and let's take a rest. And so more and more, and then gradually, that you are including more of yourself into this movement. So we began with the movement of the side bending the head to the right. And there wasn't much integration initially for most people, imagine. So that's most of the movement is coming from the neck. And then as you're shifting your attention, expanding awareness into further parts and the larger parts of yourself, and then all the other parts and begin to participate in the movement. And notice what happens to the quality of the movement. Does it feel easier? Does it feel less effort? So let's return one last time. Okay, so now you can do the movement you did first. Okay, side bend your head to the right. And now, as you begin to do the movement, and can you sense the movement is actually flowing down all the way down to the tail and down to the legs? And can you allow that the entire part of yourself to participate in the movement so that the whole spine, the entire spine, and begin to work with the head and your legs and the pelvis also begin to participate in the movement. So like you're wagging the tail and looking at your tail or looking at your foot there. So any part that you can sense that working too hard, and any part that is not working and participating in so much, well, paying attention and find a way that you can distribute an effort and movement a little more evenly, so the movement, so you can feel more comfort and more ease. And so the movement is easier and movement is lighter, without strain, without discomfort. Okay. Now that we are done with this movement and short lessons on the one side, of course, it'd be nice if you have the time and you can just take a pause and then you go to the other side too. But now let's take a pause and have you stand up and then we'll do the reference movement, standing. All right, so stand with the feet shoulder width apart, arms hanging to the side. Okay, and then begin to slide your right hand down a little bit. Okay, and return. So notice the changes. And how does your right hand, how do you reach your hand downward and down into that direction? And how does the body, yourself, and the entire self participate in the movement? And then what's the difference? If you're finding that your hand reaches further with less effort, then what is it? What has changed? You didn't stretch. Okay? So what has changed, and always the coordination and the organization of your bodies and how you use yourself and how you move, and that's the key. All right, over and over. So you may not be doing these movements and a lot during the day, but in these movement patterns, and it is if you pay attention to your daily movements, you recognize these patterns in everywhere. Okay, as you're reaching down and moving sideways, and then you can sense and you can notice that patterns, and then maybe that you can start to apply, integrate that, incorporate these new patterns into your daily activities, your life, right? So that you can feel more comfort and ease, and that's always the goal, and of doing this movement practice, and so that you become more aware of yourself, and it's easier for you to recognize and notice when things that you are starting to do the habitual movement patterns that is maybe causing some discomfort and a little bit of pain. That's the moment that you can start to apply more and more. It is a practice. Okay? All right, well, that's it for this one, and thank you. And I will see you maybe in the next one, in next series. Bye-bye. Thank you for your participation. I hope you enjoy this movement series, and you will continue to incorporate the movement practice into your day. As you become more mindful of your body through daily movement practice, you will have a kinder and more friendly relationship with your body and find more joy and comfort. So please enjoy the movement practice every day, and I will see you in the next series. Happy mindful movement. Bye-bye.